Never forget why you started. You wanted to change your ancestors' story, so tell me, why did you stop trying? In this video, I just want to give you a stark reminder of why you started trying, why you pursued certain goals, so that maybe, just maybe, you'll be built with a little bit more clarity and a reminder of what it is that you want from your life. If you've been feeling stuck, repeating certain cycles, this video is for you. I'm not here to preach or provide you with motivation. I'm simply here to remind you of who you are. So the first thing that leads into this whole thing of never forgetting why you start, to understand the path was never meant to be easy. Anything I've ever done in my life, whether that be YouTube or going to the gym or maybe finding a job or doing any sort of work, has always been a massive struggle. You know, you talk about, let's say for example, walking up a hill and you've got like a snowball. The snowball starts off quite small and it's a bit of a long task to try and push that snowball up the hill because you're working against gravity. But what happens once you reach the top of that hill? Things become a whole lot more easier. That's the same thing with work. That's the same thing with anything that you wish to accomplish. Anything good never came easy. One of the biggest lessons or the biggest things I've had to learn with myself is I can't give up so easily. It's such a childish mindset that I used to have where I'll do something for maybe a week or a few months or maybe even just a few weeks, not a few months really. I never really got that far, ironically. And then I'd give up. I'd say, well, things aren't working out or I'm not learning as fast enough or I'm not seeing the results in which I want to see in this exact moment. Are you that person that you need to see results? The funniest thing about life, in which I believe personally, you may not believe this yourself, is do something for long enough and you will see some sort of success in it. Do something for even longer than long enough in which you've done it for, and you're almost guaranteed to prevail. So if anything that you're doing, such as any sort of coursework or business work or, I don't know, anything that requires you to invest some sort of time, try and increase your time frame with it and see what wonders will be. Next thing I want to remind you about in terms of why you started for a reason. So what might that reason be? You started for maybe your kids. You started off for maybe your future wife. You started off for maybe yourself and the money. One of the major things, the major motivating things that push me to want to become better every single day. One, my health. I've seen so much people talk about their health in their, not even their older ages in fact, maybe even just their 30s, where their back is all out and they can't do the things in which they wanted to do. I've seen videos of many different fat people falling over and they can't get back up. There's even this one video where a woman had dropped her stroller with her child and she was running for the stroller and she couldn't even catch a stroller and the stroller was going into the street with oncoming cars. You should never ever get that unfit in your life. And even, for example, even just talking about any sort of monetary gain. So you're obviously doing this, you're creating your business because you want to become financially independent. What did you want to do with that money? You want to maybe buy a nice penthouse apartment. You want to travel the world. You want to be financially independent to the point where you don't have to have a boss. How many times have you been at work where somebody's spoken down on you and made you feel like utter shit? It's because you haven't worked on yourself more than you've worked on someone else's business. So you're simply a cog in a turning machine. That's one of the major motivating factors for me to change my life and to do what I want to do, is because people will be able to have any sort of control over you because you don't have any control over yourself. And now the last thing that I want to talk about in terms of never forgetting why you started is progress over perfection. Whenever I've started something, I've always had this perfectionist mindset that's always kept me at bay in certain times. And the reason why I say this is because I would say maybe I have a bit of ADHD when it comes to certain things, that I want it to be perfect. I want it to have all the elements in. And so a great example of this would be maybe like YouTube scripting or going to the gym, starting a new workout. I always want it to be perfect. But what happens is that takes up so much mental energy, I begin to procrastinate and not do it anyway. Or when I do it, it's a whole lot more difficult because I'm thinking about all the different moving parts and it gets quite confusing, gets quite difficult, gets quite weird quite quick. Don't worry about what it looks like now. Just get it out. That's one of the biggest lessons that I took from, I found it off like a quote months earlier. Get it out there now. Don't get it to be perfect. So whatever it is that you're doing, maybe it's a business that you're starting, you know, the first product and everything is always crap, it's always shit. Look at Tesla, look at the PlayStation, look at Nintendo. They've created about 1 billion different consoles or products, and they were all crap at the start. They didn't get to where they are today instantly. Rome was not built in a day. They got this success over years and years and billions of dollars of investing into research and development to get where they are today. You can't expect to do something today and get a result tomorrow. It takes time and iteration. It's funny me even hearing this right now because I know this is something I should take in a lot more. But take that as a fact today, a ritual today, if you will, that it's not going to be perfect today, but it can be better someday. But the only way for it to get better someday is if you release something today. Don't ever forget the reason why you started, because you can accomplish anything that you want to do in your life. And most importantly, never forget who you are.